Hi there, it's Michaela Quilici here, business growth and marketing expert. I work with business owners, consultants, coaches, and entrepreneurs like you navigate your business growth on purpose. Welcome today to my broadcast on becoming an elegant leader. Be seen, be heard, be valued. I am super excited to be here with you today. And, I created this broadcast because I really do believe that to truly be seen, be heard, and valued, we must learn to step into our own self-leadership so that we can really step into who we need to become and who we need to be in order to create massive success for ourselves in both life and business. So this place, this broadcast is a place where you can come to be supported and inspired and to really step into the next best version of you. And today I'm super excited to share some stories and some tips on what I learned about sales and marketing from a park bench. And essentially, what I'm going to share with you is I'm going to share with you some tips on how to really market the way that your customers buy, and to really help to create an attractive and compelling offer in terms of how you are communicating and how you are marketing and selling yourself out in the world as a service professional. So I'm going to share some tips with you in order to how to do that, and really some insights into how to really understand the psychology behind how customers buy from you, and subconsciously what's going on in their own minds when they are evaluating you and your services as a potential partner or a person to hire or to buy from. So what I have found typically in my practice and with my clients is when you are unable to really have that compelling and attractive offer, what tends to happen is one of three main things. One thing is you're really not able to stand out from the competition and uniquely differentiate yourself, and so it's difficult for people to know why they should buy from you and why they should engage with your services versus another service provider or another person. The second problem that pops up is, it's difficult to make marketing work for you, and you may not be generating the exposure, the visibility, or quite frankly, the results that you're looking for with your marketing efforts. And so if your marketing isn't working for you and you're not really generating results, then these tips today will really help you with that. And the third thing is, what I often find happens is there's this frustration that can sometimes build up as a service provider, as a coach or consultant, when you are working to land a new client. You're maybe in a consultative meeting or strategy session, and there can sometimes be a frustration that builds up that I sometimes hear my clients say things like, I'm just not getting the respect I deserve. I've been in this field for a really long time. Why aren't people valuing me? And just this pent-up frustration around really not being valued, not being seen, and not being heard for who you really are and for the value that you can bring, and for what you're charging. So if any of that sounds like you, then you're in the right place today. I've got some really key insights and tips that will help you move forward and change some of these problems and some of these symptoms into desires and needs that you might want to be filling in your business. So for example, if you're looking to stand out and really be seen and cut through the noise of the competition that's out there, if you want to be able to learn how to inspire people to say yes and to invest in you and to hire you, also, if you're looking to get paid better for your services, to really get paid well, and to work with clients who, quite frankly, love you and respect you and are really happy to continue to work with you and to refer you to other people. That is really the ultimate goal here. And so in order to do that, there's some insight and tips that might be supportive for you to really understand how to market the way people buy and how to really stand out. And so I've got a story I want to share with you about this, which is a situation that happened to me a little while ago when I met up with my friend Pauline. Now, Pauline has got some amazing talents and skills, and she's one of my mentors and colleagues and a dear friend. And we meet up from time to time and get together and check in and chat and support one another and find ways of supporting one another. And so Pauline's background is in sales, and my background has been in marketing. And so when we get together, we always have such a lively discussion about the differences between sales and marketing and how, these two functions really support one another. And we always have such a great time. And so this one time that we got together, we decided that we were going to go out for a walk and stop along the way to grab some ice cream. And we were going to walk and talk in the fresh air and outside and have some ice cream and catch up. And so we walked into a little cafe and we got our little matching bowls of ice cream, and we proceeded to go for a walk along the boardwalk along the marina. And so what I remember about this conversation that we had was that at a certain point as we were walking down the marina, there were some park benches that were kind of along the boardwalk. And so I had said to Pauline, do you want to sit down for a bit and on these benches? And I kind of provided her with, kind of pointed into the direction of the benches and presented her with this opportunity of, and this invitation of, would you like to have a seat, and would you like to have a seat here? And so I remember her distinctly, she took one look at the benches, and I could tell that she was subconsciously making some judgments and some coming to some conclusions around whether or not she wanted to sit there and whether or not that was an appealing place to be. And so her response to me, and this all happened in just split seconds. So her response to me was, here, you want to sit there? Those benches look long in the tooth and they don't look very comfortable. And so I thought that was a really interesting response to my question, because if I'm just peeling back the curtain for a moment and to draw the parallels between what we do when we are inviting our clients into a deeper conversation with us, into potentially working with us or hiring us, we are making an invitation. And that's the same thing that I did with Pauline. And in that invitation, she was faced with a decision as to whether or not she wanted to move forward with that decision of sitting on the bench, which is very much the conversation that your clients are having, or your prospects rather, are having within themselves when they are considering the possibility of hiring you and engaging in your services. And within those split seconds, they are making judgments. They are coming to conclusions. They are making decisions on an emotional level as to whether or not that is something that feels good to them based on what they are receiving through all of their senses. And so every decision that we make really has the ability to either impact us on a positive or negative way. And the decision to sit on that bench, although it may seem like no big deal, that would have shaped the rest of our experience together as we were chatting and as we were checking in with one another and having a conversation. That experience, if we had, depending on the decision we would have made, would have totally shaped the experience and the outcome of that decision. And to be honest, I looked at those benches and I thought, you know what, they kind of look a little bit uncomfortable. They're a little bit dirty. And I was already, after her response, I was already second guessing and taking a look at that situation saying, maybe we don't want to sit there. Maybe if we sit there, it'll be uncomfortable and we're going to get dirty and we're not going to have a good time. Because the objective of getting together was to really have a good time and check in and connect. And so similarly, when you are looking to present yourself to your clients, they are evaluating you based on whether or not they feel that by engaging with you, they are going to meet their objectives. And so their decision is really crucial to them in terms of lining up with what's important to them. And the way you present yourself and the way you are communicating about yourself, that all plays a really, really crucial role in these split seconds decisions and evaluations that your prospects are making. And so at this point, it doesn't really matter whether you're in the business of, the park bench business, or you have a coaching or consulting or training practice and you're looking to build your customer base. The philosophy is the same, is that people are going to be evaluating you in many different ways. And so you want to make sure that you are able to influence, impact, and inspire people to really get the information that they need in order to make the best and the most empowered decision for themselves. And so a couple of things that you want to consider are, when you're kind of evaluating how well you're doing in this area, take a look at, is the intention of how your brand is visually, your marketing communication, your elevator pitch, your materials, your, the questions that you're asking when you meet people, how you dress, the tone of your voice, all of these things are being evaluated. And so they all make up parts of that decision-making process that your prospect is going through. So as you're taking a look at these things and kind of looking at them objectively, you want to kind of check in with yourself to see if your intention, the way you're putting yourself out there and the manner in which you're doing that is having the desired impact. Because if it's not, then you can simply take a look at how you might want to tweak what it is that you're already doing to be able to then shift the impact that it's having on other people. The response and the feedback that you get from other people, good or bad or indifferent, doesn't matter. But the response, whatever that response is that you're getting from people, gives you a lot of information and indication as to whether or not what you're doing is being effective or not. Or is falling short in some way. So take your cues from that. Do you have a brand image that truly represents who you are and that's aligned to who you are? And are you communicating those words in a customer-focused way where you're really speaking to the needs and the wants and those triggers of the prospect? So people, remember that people buy based on subconsciously, some subconscious factors of connecting at an emotional level, and they justify their decision with logic afterwards to validate their buying decision and to really know that they've made the right decision for them. But initially, it's an emotional conversation that happens subconsciously with people when they are looking for solutions to their problems. And so, I challenge you, what's one thing that you could be doing differently in order to really appeal to your customers or your potential customers' senses. And so I like to share with you, there's, the 5 senses. And so this is one way that you can kind of evaluate yourself, how well you're doing in these areas. And so what's one thing that you can be doing differently in your marketing and your communication and how you're coming across, what you're saying and what you're doing to really appeal to your prospects' 5 senses. So you want to create an attractive and compelling offer that speaks to each of these senses. So for example, the first one is smell. So what fragrance do you want to create? So if, for example, you're doing a vendor table or a business showcase table, a trade show table, what might you do at your table to create a fragrance that is going to be inviting for people to step into a conversation with you? So one example would be to have maybe some essential oils, a diffuser at the table that's diffusing a lovely scent that's going to attract people in. Maybe you want to have a beautiful bouquet of flowers that is very fragrant. And so think about what might you do to put forward a fragrance that's going to be drawing people in. So here's the thing. I mean, with everything that we do, we're in terms of marketing communications, marketing and sales communications, there's two options, 2 outcomes. You're either repelling people away with what you're doing, or you're attracting people and drawing people in. And so there's, you can take the cue from what's happening and the feedback you're getting from other people to really see which areas are you repelling and which areas are you attracting, and what you need to do differently to attract people more. So the second sense is sound. So what do you want your tone of voice and your words to sound like? Tone of voice has a huge bearing on the perception that people have about you. And the perception is reality in their minds. And so as an example, if you have a very soft-spoken, a really soft voice, almost like a maternal, giving, nurturing, caregiving way about how you are using your words or the tonality of your voice, that will be perceived as being very soothing and very welcoming and very nurturing. And that perception then leads to the conclusion that that person is very maternal. And that person is perhaps going to take care of you or guide you or fix you or that sort of thing. So if you are a nurse, for example, then maybe that's exactly what you want. You want someone to know that you're going to help them, you're going to fix them, you're going to take care of them, you're going to mother them, and you're going to nurture them. If you are a consultant or a trainer, that is probably not the energy that you want to be putting out there to your prospects. You want to be really clear on what's important to your client in terms of what they want to see in a service provider. If they want to see a service provider that is going to lead them, then you want to show up and you want to sound like a leader. You want your words to be impactful and purposeful, and you want your tone to drive home the point so that it is coming across that you are an expert, you are a leader, you can be trusted. And that will completely change the perception and how you are received by your audience. So the first sense that we talked about was smell. The second one is sound, and this is the tone of your voice and the words that you use. The third one is touch, and so this is how can you create a valuable feeling. And touch can not only be physical touch, although it can be, but touch can also be, if you've heard people say, she touched my heart, or she touched me, and she really spoke to me, and she really gets me. That is also a form of touch. So really understanding how you can create a feeling through your words, your visuals, how you're showing up, how you're physically interacting with somebody, that is demonstrating that you are trustworthy, that you're credible, that you care, and that you get what your prospect is going through. You get their pain, and therefore they are most likely to want to learn more and engage with you and be more attracted to have that dialogue with you. So that's touch. The fourth one is sight. So how will others see you as exceptional? And so again, this can have a lot to do with what you are wearing, how you're dressing, how you're presenting yourself, how you stand, your posture, how you move, anything that others see. So this also touches on your physical, your visual brand, the images that you're using on your website, the video that you've developed and that you share, through your various channels. So how will others see you as exceptional? And what is the impact that you're actually having on people in terms of how you're showing up? How is that being translated? You want to be conscious of that, and you want to take stock of what that looks like right now, and what you might want to adjust. Because it's all about making these adjustments based on really understanding what your audience cares about, what's important to them, and how they're going to be perceiving that information through you as the communicator. So the fifth one is taste. What taste will you leave in your customer's mouth? And so, this, if you have a product, then you can take this at literal face value, which is, are you creating a product that tastes good? But this I'm more referring to, service professionals and what taste you're leaving in your customer's mouth in terms of your interactions with them. So I know that I've used this expression before in terms of the taste that someone has left in my mouth after I've had a conversation with them, after I've had a service provided by them, and just it's that feeling and it's that taste that you are leaving behind with your prospect or with your customer after you have served them. And so you want to be really conscious of number one, what you want to leave behind. What do you want to be known for? What do you want people to remember you by? What do you want people to recall about you after the fact? And so again, this is something that can be designed. So like with all of these senses and with all of these questions that I am bringing up for you to consider is really about how you are designing this message that you are communicating to the world. And this message that you're communicating in all the different forms, whether it's non-verbally, verbally, visually, kinesthetically, this is all going to create that package that becomes your marketing and sales and business development communication package. This is your brand. This is your voice. This is your really how you're showing up in the world and what impact that's having on other people as to whether or not they want to open a dialogue with you, whether or not they want to work with you, whether or not they really even understand what it is that you do, whether or not they're going to pay you well for your services, and whether or not they're going to ask you for a discount or to strike a deal of some sort, to get to pay less. So all of these things have an impact, and so I encourage you to think about, as you evaluate how you're showing up in the world and what you're doing, taking a look at and think about some of these questions, just to see where are some adjustments that you might be able to make and to implement right away to start to change the dynamic and change the way people are responding to who you are and what you do. So I hope this has been helpful for you today. If you have any questions or comments, I encourage you to pop them in the comment box below, and I will be sure to pop in and answer those as best that I can. And so just to recap some of the things that we talked about what are some of the things that you can do differently, and talking about how you can create a compelling and attractive offer based on using your 5 senses. And so smell, what fragrance do you want to create with your prospects? Sound, what do you want the sound and tone of your voice to be like and the words to sound like? Touch, how can you create a valuable feeling? How can you touch them physically and figuratively? 4 is sight. How will others see you as exceptional? And the 5th one is taste. What taste will you leave in your customer's mouth? And so again, these can all be things that you design and you craft, and you are very intentional and mindful about in terms of marketing yourself and positioning yourself and packaging yourself in a way that people buy, and in a way that resonates with what's important to your audience. That is the key. That is really the key, is to understand your audience and how to speak to them in a way that they understand. So thank you for watching. That's it for me today. If you have found this information useful or insightful, I encourage you to share this video with your colleagues, with your clients, and with your friends. And any business owners you feel could use some help in really standing out and be seen and be heard, and be more compelling with their prospects and inspire their prospects to turn into customers. So, really my purpose is to ignite you into your own awareness so that you can really show up as the leader that you need to be in order to grow your business and navigate your business to the next level of growth. So I dare you to be visible, and I dare you to express that potential that you have and your brilliance. The world is waiting for what you have to offer, and so my only question is, what are you waiting for? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.